Good evening and welcome to SVG-TV News and Sports for Wednesday, March 20th, 2019. I am Rochelle Duchess with the details. It was a welcoming fit for their Royal Highnesses, the Prince of Wales and the Duchess of Cornwall, when they landed at the Argyle International Airport around midday today. The visit of their Royal Highnesses to SVG forms part of their 11-day Caribbean tour. Larissa Pugsley-Kidd tells us more in this report about the packed program of activities their Royal Highnesses were engaged in throughout the day, including a wreath-laying ceremony at the cenotaph in capital Kingstown, witnessed by hundreds of Vincentians.
The Prince of Wales and the Duchess of Cornwall touched down at the Argyle International Airport aboard the Royal Air Force around midday today to a warm welcome by the RSVG Police Force and its band. On hand to greet the Royals was the Head of State Governor-General Sir Frederick Ballantyne. A guard of honor also awaited their Royal Highness, who then proceeded to greet Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, his wife, Opposition Leader Dr. Godwin Friday and his wife, and other government officials and the dignitaries. Waiting outside to meet the Prince of Wales and the Duchess of Cornwall were students from various schools and onlookers. After leaving the airport, the Prince next stop was at the Mangroves, while the Duchess of Cornwall travelled on to the SVG Community College, where an exhibition was mounted with a showcase of cultural performances. While there, the Duchess of Cornwall engaged students and also tried a local flavoured rum. Following the Mangroves tour in Brighton, the Prince of Wales travelled to the Coast Guard base at Calico and boarded a new Coast Guard vessel, Captain Hugh Mulzac, en route to Kingstown. At the cruise ship berth, the royals came together and interacted with students who were eager to meet them. The convoy then proceeded to the cenotaph, where persons bore the scourging sun to have a glimpse of the royals. While at the cenotaph, the Prince of Wales laid a wreath in remembrance of the fallen soldiers. The royals were then presented with tokens from members of the Girl Guides. Persons who lined the streets had the opportunity to shake hands with the Prince and the Duchess of Cornwall. Inside the Kingstown market, the Prince interacted with vendors, asking them about their local fruits and vegetables. Other activities the royals were involved in today include a tour inside the St. George's Cathedral with the help of former Minister of Culture René Batiste. They also paid a visit to the Botanical Gardens, where His Royal Highness, who is an avid lover of plants, planted a sofrey tree. The royals ended their visit to SVG with a reception and an investiture ceremony at the residence of the Prime Minister. Reporting for SVG-TV News, Larissa Pugsley-Kidd.
Meanwhile, at the Argyle International Airport, teachers and students who were part of the welcoming ceremony expressed their elation in being part of what they considered a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
My name is Zara Kennedy. I'm just visiting. Just met the Prince. It was wonderful, yeah. Good experience for the first time.
It was a great visit. I actually got to shake his hand, so it made me feel real nice. Yeah.
I did not really spoke to him, but he passed and he actually asked the teachers and parents who they were, and then my teacher right here actually got to shake his hand, and she was so happy.
Well, I'm impressed. Vincentians went all out, and it's a once in a lifetime thing, so I'm happy to be here.
Well, it is quite important for them because we were once ruled under the Britain, and we were just doing that era of study, so they can get first-hand experience of exactly, what we were talking about. Right? I think it's a good once-in-a-life experience for them, and I'm grateful that I was here to witness it with my students.
It's very important. We share colonial history, and I think that by the Dutch and Duchess coming here, that it will make a bit more realistic to them. They can relate to. They would have heard about them, but now that they are seeing them in person, they can connect whatever we would have taught them to what they're seeing here.
We will have more on their Royal Highness's visit to SVG in our newscast tomorrow. In other news, government is moving ahead with plans to make Annesville the next city in SVG. To this end, a two-day workshop on the resilient urban development of the modern city and Kingston commenced today at the NIS conference room. The workshop is focusing on two key areas: the revitalization of Kingston and the development of Annesville as a modern city. Specific topics will include design for urban spaces, development of business and financial models for urban investment, optimization of transportation systems, and management of disaster and climate risk. Addressing the opening ceremony of the workshop today, the EU Project Officer for Green Economy, Energy and Resilience, Jose Lajera, said it is senseless to build a city and not take into account the needs of those who will live in it. Lajera said building urban resilience is crucial to avoid human, social and economic losses while improving sustainability of urbanization. He said the studies undertaken for Kingston and Annesville will give participants the opportunity to create resilient cities.
The studies and analysis for Annesville and Kingston will allow us to have a perfect picture of our house, identifying weak points where the wind can find its way and giving us the tools to reinforce and reduce the risk of having a breach. The communications and knowledge management will allow us to know, hear and understand the recommendations to have plans for ensuring a safe haven. Participation in the process since the start of all kinds of people and not only technicians will allow to draft solutions that will convene everybody and will take into account the vulnerable groups. It is senseless to design a city without taking into account who will be living in it. Dear colleagues, the European Union will support as many initiatives as possible oriented to ensure a better, inclusive and brighter future. But the homework has to be done by every one of us, including everyone in this room. Let's take conscience, let's open the eyes and let's think globally by acting locally. Let's allow a safe future, or our children will have a great problem to forgive us. Thank you.
Highlighting some of the features of the proposed modern city at Annesville was Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves. He said along with a modern medical facility, the city will have a tunnel which will assist in alleviating the congestion of traffic in the area.
We did a preliminary study, a road from Annesville coming into the city, coming into Kingston, and a tunnel. And it surprised me that the number for the tunnel came out much cheaper. And obviously if we do that as part of the whole process, we go ahead and deal with the traffic. You can't build a tunnel there without having it as a toll. You have to use toll. People have to get accustomed to that idea if you put in that infrastructure. You go to America, we are accustomed to pay for tolls going in at several points between you leave Kennedy Airport and you're going into New York. With 1 or 2 points a meter with a toll, and then you're going from there to New Jersey and so on and so forth. So we have to pay for it.
Country Director of the Caribbean Country Management Unit of the World Bank, Tassin Said, said small countries like SVG face unique challenges. She said the World Bank is willing to create a closer relationship with SVG and assist it in a wide range of areas.
Into the cities from rural areas, from other parts of the world. Here we do see a little bit more out-migration as well. So there are unique challenges, and I'm really hopeful that the support the St. Vincent Grenadines will get from our team, our technical team on this process that is being supported by very, very generously by the European Union, is by the EU colleagues, is that we would help you think through on not just the regeneration and development of Annesville and regeneration of Kingstown, but also on how best to use public spaces, how best to provide support whilst looking at the population density and the availability of land, which is quite limited in the context of the areas we're talking about. So that's, I did want to highlight this because I think that's the key challenge for all of us collectively, especially for us to be able to think through with you, recognizing this uniqueness of what and the opportunities that are presented here.
The Vinci Wi-Fi app was launched yesterday by the National Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, the NTRC. The app will enable users to find free Wi-Fi service throughout SVG. In addition, the Wi-Fi app allows users to access information and location anywhere in SVG with the use of pictures. Speaking at Tuesday's ceremony, Director of the NTRC, Apollo Knight, said the app was in the making for the past 2 years and Android users can easily download it immediately from the App Store, while iPhone users can do so by the end of the week.
Send it to Apple on Sunday. Right, both of them went up to one to Google, one to Apple. And this morning, Apple said it's not, they haven't given us a permission to make it publish. They indicated that we had asked, when you're doing the app filing, you ask what permissions you require in the app. So we asked for permission to use audio in the phones, and they were saying it was not using audio, but it does use audio. So we try to clarify with them, because the NTRC Connect RSS version at this time is the same, which is available in the Apple Store. That was up before, it's there. It's not there right now. We disabled them in the last few weeks, so that process will be able to think before we launch. So maybe by today or tomorrow, it should be back up and running. So until we get the issue with the Wi-Fi version 1 out, maybe by tomorrow we'll let you know, soon as the one is back.
The Vinci Wi-Fi app has 3 components, which was developed by software engineer Cyrus. The 3 components are the mobile platform, the map box, and cloud service. Cyrus explained that SVG is now at an advantage of retrieving geographic locations using the app with these 3 platforms.
When the satellite passes, we're such a small country, we tend to get overlooked. So whatever picture they grab is what they will put up. And the pictures usually have a lot of cloud cover. So for example, you might try to go see Vermont and you just see clouds. All right, you won't see any information in there. So we were able to get a high quality image of Simmons and the Grenadines, and we uploaded it to the platform and we use it inside the app. So there's nowhere you can go and see cloud cover. Everything is just the actual map. All right. And also, as the director mentioned, we have a directions feature in the app, and it's handled by Mapbox. So it would take your location, the destination you're trying to go to, and formulate the best route to that location. So the cloud services we use. First one I mentioned was the Amazon Web Services. So Amazon, we host our database on Amazon.
The updates were done on digital maps of SVG using the OpenStreet platform. Kashimi Bascom is one of the persons who worked on accuracy and digitized map, who said that it was necessary to do so.
So we're digitizing the map. We cannot just sit down at the office and say, this is exactly how the map looks and this is exactly how it's supposed to be. We have to go out into the field and confirm whether or not the roads that we saw within the satellite image were indeed there or they were indeed accurate. So what we utilized during that mapping process was the Mapillary application and the field papers apparatus. So just to get more in depth into what they are, the field papers apparatus is basically a printed map. The map now that we have is from the Mapbox satellite the information. So the Mapbox map information. So what that does is basically the best thing for us was to get this information directly from Mapbox, because as you know, OpenStreetMaps utilizes the Mapbox satellite imagery mostly.
Community activist Leroy Llewellyn is calling on the authorities to lend a hand to help preserve the Sand Hill Beach from further coastal erosion. Llewellyn and others were recently engaged in activities to beautify the beach area. He told SVG-TV News that it was during such time they realized the serious threat of coastal erosion and, if not addressed, could completely destroy the beachfront. SVG-TV's Bavin Oliver tells us more in this report.
The intention was to beautify the Sand Hill Beach area, but now community activist Leroy Llewellyn is stuck between a rock and a hard place. It all began as his team started a project installing picnic benches, barbecue grills, and the clearing of bushes and pruning of trees in order to make the area more attractive. He said it all came crashing down as it was discovered that the area was private property. Llewellyn said he has no problem with the landowners and respects their right.
Now, we were somewhat aware that all of the land space here is really not belonging to the general public. But what struck us, or struck me most of all, was when I came and I noticed that the surveyor had re-established. He said that is what he did. He re-established the boundary marks that were there. And it really caught me by surprise in particular. Because if you were to use the camera, you will notice that one of the boundary marks is just a mere 5 or 6 feet from the actual water line. And the one on this side here that comes in from the access route is just a fair, maybe about 20 feet or so from the actual water line itself. So it left us with very, very, very little space. Now, I want to make it abundantly clear here that the Sand Hill community, or myself, we have no grounds, we have no dispute with the landowner. As I said before, all we're doing is just to try to enhance the area. And as a matter of fact, I've received instructions from a lawyer that I should remove the benches. We have no problem with that. We will be removing them in a very short space of time from now.
Activists said their revelation has put a dent in his plans to develop the beachfront area, but what is more of a concern is a total destruction of the beach due to coastal erosion. He said he was surprised by the amount of land the sea has swallowed up.
A grasp of exactly what is taken in terms of coastal erosion. Where I am standing here, if you want to take a straight line, the land used to be right in that corner. So all of that has gone. If you look closely as well, you will see where the boundary mark is, where the monument is with the pink flag on it, to tell you that we have no space at all on this side. So all of the land over here, if we have no use of it, then the beach, it's just a matter of just coming and you take a dip and you go. So there'll be no area for picnicking, there'll be no area for having fun and so forth. So hence the reason why we are trying our best to see what can be done to alleviate the situation.
The community activist said he has made appeals to the authorities for assistance, but in the meantime he is making plans of his own to stem the tide of the coastal erosion.
Some of these cement here, hard cement, place them, and what I noticed is that they are doing a very, very, very good job. It's been very effective. So as the water comes up, it cannot remove the hard cement and it goes back. Now, we also went ahead. Can you imagine that sand is being removed from the beach? So we had to go and order a truckload of sand in order to fill back up the space here so that we can have the beach widened. And we're doing the same thing up in that section up there.
The Sand Hill Beach is a popular spot for picnic and other recreational activities. It is hoped that it can be preserved for future generations. For SVG-TV Evening News, I am Bavin Oliver.
The Pan Against Crime Committee will commence a celebration of the 11th anniversary of the program with a concert in Bible this Sunday, March 24th. The event, which has the support of the Bible Football League, will be staged at the playing field and begins at 4:30 p.m. The Bible Church of God of Prophecies Choir will lead off the concert with a session of worship, while Reverend Pam Daniel of the St. Matthew's Anglican Church will deliver the exhortation. Two steel bands, the Symphonic Steel Orchestra and Epic Songs, will join the police band in providing music. There will also be cultural performances by several youth from schools and police youth clubs in the area. Chairperson of the National Commission on Crime Prevention, Letitia Sandy, Commissioner of Police, Colin John, and Parliamentary Representative for the area, Frederick Stevenson, are expected to deliver brief addresses, with a feature address to come from Prime Minister, Minister of National Security, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves. Meanwhile, the PAC committee will again team up with the SVG Gospel Fest Committee, the South Leeward Zone, to stage the annual Gospel Fest Zonal Showcase at Vermont on Sunday, April 21st at 4:30 p.m. The Pan Against Crime program, an initiative of the government of SVG, was launched on February 20th, 2018, and since then has established an additional 15 steel bands in various communities and schools throughout SVG. The program serves as a nursery for youth, teaching them the art of playing the steel pan and also assist them with guidance through key individuals and stakeholders in staying clear of crime, violence, and delinquent behavior.